The investing project is about helping ordinary people achieve substantial wealth without upending their everyday lives. The $1 Million Experiment is a real-time example of this project in action. And my foundational premise in leading this project is that I am not an expert in any of these topics. Rather, I'm building a system that weaves in other people's expertise and makes it possible for me, and you hopefully, to achieve tremendous results in a very short time. So remember, I'm not a financial advisor, so don't just blindly copy me. Instead, use this as a framework to integrate your own choice of experts that will help you achieve the results you want. Welcome to the update for month 4 of the $1 Million Experiment. Once again, we met our targets. The one thing that's different this month, though, is that we were assigned the shares of the stock DRAM that we were put. I'll talk about that more in detail when I jump into the numbers, but that's the only thing that's slightly different from where we were last month. So we'll get into the details shortly. So let's start with a recap of the week, because we're blending the weekly update with the monthly one. And we can see here that the week was a negative week. We lost $521. We actually dug ourselves into quite a bit of a hole. We were down. We had a couple of days, Friday on the previous week, and then the Monday here. On both days, we were hit with news bars, and that took me out of both positions that I was in at full loss, which was very frustrating. And I followed that up on Tuesday with some sketchy trades, and this ended up being the largest loss of the 3. So that was just not great. But the last 2 days of the week, we've managed to pull ourselves, the last 2 trading days, the Wednesday and the Friday, we managed to pull ourselves out we cut the hole mostly in half. A positive way to end the week, but it was a rough week, all things considered. So 11 trades, 4 wins, 5 losses, 2 break-evens. Now, if we go over here and look at, let's close out the investing. We had sold the $60 put option on DRAM, and we were assigned those shares the day before they expired, so a slightly early assignment. And so we record $0 we record the full gain for the $263 that we were paid for those options, because they were then assigned to us, and then we bought the shares for $60. That was the deal. We said we'd buy them for $60. We were paid $263 for making that agreement, so we bought the shares for $60. Now we can see that at the close of business on Friday, they were down at $52. So we're sitting on a negative, almost $800 position. However, we fully expect that's going to change over the next number of weeks and possibly months. So we're not going to record a gain or a loss on this position until we're ready to sell it and close. So we'll keep that to one side. The thing we have to bear in mind is this is tying up $6,000 of our available margin. And so we don't want to we have to keep that in mind as we're putting on new positions. And then the SoFi closed above our strike, so we just simply record the $0, keep the 51, and we're ready to put on new positions, which I'll be doing this week. So if we go over here and look at our totals, we can see where we currently stand. This was the 314 that we made this month, and so we'll be adding $2,000 as we do each month to the income or to the investment amount. This is the growth account. We'll be adding that, so we'll have $10,000 and change. We're actually a little ahead of the plan. We expected we would have 10,412, and it actually looks like we have 10,651. If we look at that and say, okay, we're taking away the 6,000 that we've already got tied up in DRAM, we'll have a total of $4,651 to deploy this week in new put positions. So we'll look at that. Also, we'll be putting on a covered call position for the DRAM as well. So that will generate some additional income. Anyway, according to plan, this coming month, we are to make $154 in income from the growth engine. I fully expect that we'll do substantially better than that as we did last month, but we'll cover that this coming week as we go through and put those positions on. So meanwhile, to summarize, for the entire month for trading in our income engine, we were expecting, our target was $1,127. We met that and exceeded it slightly about a week and a half in. We made $1,262. Then we switched over to our alternate or simulation account and made another $2,044 of extra money, let's say. We don't really count that. The $2,044 here is bonus. We're only really counting the $1,262 because that was the closest number to our target once we had met it. So that's where we stand. We seem like we're ahead on all of these areas. We haven't yet placed a trade in the accumulation engine. That'll be coming soon enough, but we want to have a little bit more money before we actually put any positions on. So that's where we stand at the moment. Long story short, we're in pretty good shape here. And I'll look briefly at our dashboard. This is where we get a picture of the charts. You can see if we're able to continue making the money at the rate that we're expecting to, this is what the charts look like. And we expect fully that we're going to be continuing along this path. Of course, this is an experiment, so there's no guarantee here. And the whole point is for us to see whether or not this is possible. So what we're expecting to be doing is continuing to grow our income account, our trading account, until it reaches 500K, at which point we start withdrawing an income and contributing the excess over to the growth engine, which is where we start to really ramp up the amount that we're trading in the wheel strategy. And by the 5-year mark, just short of the 60-month mark, these two lines meet at the 500K mark. So this is the point where we have $1 million and that 20,000 a month income. So if you recall from looking at the plan itself, this is where we stand. We expect that for the first 6 months, every month we're adding $3,000 to the trading account, and then for the next 6 months we're adding $2,000. And for the first 6 months in the growth engine, we're adding $2,000. After which we're upping it slightly to $2,500, and we're putting $500 into the accumulation engine. So you can see that is the plan. That's what we're doing to deploy the 60K that we're starting with. And this is how we expect it to progress. Now, importantly, I know I've mentioned this many times before, but I always want to mention it. This is ignoring taxes. Everybody's tax situation is different. Some people are able to trade this in a fully tax deferred environment, in which case this probably represents, from a tax perspective, it represents what they would be seeing. Others can't do that or won't be doing that. And so there's a tax modeling tab, which is almost certainly wrong. So I always want to call that out. You've got to go through here, and as you're looking at this from various tax scenarios, this gives you a way of thinking about how does tax fit into it. I'm not a tax expert. I don't know anything about it really. I encourage you very strongly to consult a tax advisor about this. I created this tax modeling tab just to give you some idea of what it could look like. But anyway, this is up to you to work out with your tax advisor. Long story short, this is how we're tracking our progress to the $1 million experiment. And so far, we seem to be chugging along actually ahead of plan, but I'm going to call it on plan. And this is the first point at which we've actually been assigned shares in a position. So we'll see what happens with DRAM over the coming weeks and months. And we'll see how long we stay underwater and how long it takes us to actually get back above water and exit that position. So that's where we are with the end of month 4, and it's onward to month 5. Hey, just a quick wrap up to the monthly update here. And that is that if you would like to download the actual spreadsheet that I showed you, not the one with the live data that we're tracking, but the one that shows the entire $1 million experiment plan and the projections and the tax planning tab and all of that, you can do that for free. It's on our website at theinvestingproject.com. And you can also see the link here on the screen and in the video description. So if you want to download that, feel free to do so. You can follow along. You can see how we're doing relative to the plan, when we're exceeding it, when we're falling behind, etc. So it's there for your consumption if you like.